Hey guys, it's Ayano. So if you've been following on my YouTube channel, you might know that I was in Belgium. I went to visit my fiance in Belgium and I came back to Japan a few days ago, and right now I'm doing a quarantine. And I posted about this on Instagram and I got some questions from different people about, oh, how was it like to enter Japan? What was the process? Or what's the procedure of a quarantine in Japan? And I was replying to them individually, but I decided to make a video to share my experience so that people who are planning to move to Japan or come to Japan know what they're going through after they arrive here. And yeah, I thought or I hope it might be helpful for those of who are coming to Japan during this crazy time. So this is my second time doing a quarantine actually in Japan. Last time I did was in April 2020 and I was staying in the same hotel. I made a video at the time as well, but it was in Japanese. I put the link here for just in case if you're curious, if you wanna see what it was like at the time. But yeah, the procedure of quarantine is still same, but the process of entering Japan was a little bit different this time. So last time when I got here in April 2020, after we got off from the plane, we were guided to PCR test directly, and it was a nose swab test. So it took, I think it was almost 2.5 days until you get the result. So until then, you were stuck in a room in a hotel. So after the test, we were transferred to a hotel and we were just waiting for the result to come back, and all meals were provided by the government. So for any reason, we couldn't leave the room. And after you get the result, then you start doing a quarantine for 14 days. So at the time, technically your quarantine was more than 2 weeks because you needed to wait the result to come back for a few days, and then you started doing quarantine. So this time, after we got off from the airplane, first we were guided to the waiting area and we were waiting for the COVID test there. And while we were waiting, we needed to do the questionnaire. The questions were basically about your contact information, where you're from and where you're going to do quarantine, things like that. And after you finish the questionnaire, you get the QR code, and you need the QR code for the process until you leave the airport. So you can do the questionnaire before you flew to Japan. I saw some people are already doing it, but if you do so, you have to make sure to print out the QR code, because if you don't have it, you have to do it one more time at the airport. Anyway, they're gonna give you time to fill out the questionnaire, so you don't really need to worry about it. So after that, before we took the COVID test, we needed to show the certificate of the negative result. Right now in Japan, it doesn't matter where you're from or what nationality you are, you have to show the certificate of the negative result. You have to take PCR test within 72 hours before your flight. You have to get the negative test result. And when we show the test result, they ask some simple questions like where you're staying at, or did you transfer at like any airport, things like that. And maybe only that day, I'm not really sure, but the staff there, they didn't really seem to understand English very well, so be ready. Like I don't know, maybe only that day, I'm not really sure, but I've seen like some foreigners who are struggling to answer, like communicate, because they didn't understand English and they couldn't speak any Japanese. So yeah, so basically they ask like where you're from, like どこから来ましたか means where you're from, and if they ask like, oh, where are you from, then you should answer like wherever you're from. Like for me it was like ベルギーです and that's fine. And when they ask 乗り換えはしましたか or どこ経由できましたか which means like where did you transfer. So when they ask the question, you can say for me I transferred at Qatar, so I could say カタールです or I can also say カタールで乗り換えました. So I think it's better to know some simple answers so that you know, you don't get frustrated. And for the test, it was not a nose swab test anymore. It was a saliva test. Saliva test. So you can get the result on the same day. So after the test, you go to the different waiting area and you show the QR code. So you get the number and you just wait until your number is called. So for me, I waited for 2 hours. So the whole process, it took 3 hours for me. And after or if your test is negative, then you get this paper. It says quarantine. This means your test was negative. So you have to be careful. Your flight is arriving in Japan 6 p.m. It doesn't mean that you can leave the airport around 6:30. You have to wait and like the test and everything, so it's gonna take some time. So if you're asking your family or friends or ordering some private taxi, you have to be careful about the time. On the website, it says it's gonna take 1 to 3 hours. It's really up to the time when your airplane is arriving. If the airport is very busy at the time, then it's gonna take like 3 hours. When I arrived at Narita airport, I think there are other 2 or 3 flights there. So for me, it took time. But if there is not other airplane at the time, I think you can leave maybe within like, I don't know, 1 or 2 hours. So quarantine in Japan. In Japan, you can do quarantine wherever you want. You can do at home, or you can rent an apartment for 2 weeks, or you can do quarantine at a hotel like me right now. But you cannot use any public transportations for 2 weeks. So wherever you do, you have to find a way to get there by yourself. So if you're doing a quarantine at home, your family members need to pick you up from the airport, and if you want to do quarantine in the apartment in the center of Tokyo, either I think you have to order a private taxi. I checked some website and I think the average, the cost, it's 30,000 yen, which is about $300. Yeah, you have to order that. Or from last month, I think you can take a train from Narita, I mean the airport, to Ueno. But it's not like you can just go and get in the train. It's not like that. You have to make a reservation first. You have to show that the negative test, the quarantine, the paper that you got, and you have to give your passport information, and then you can buy the ticket. So it's very new. It just started from last month. I saw some article, so I'm not really sure how it works, but it says you can you just come back from overseas, you can take the train and you can go from Narita to Ueno station, and then from Ueno station you have to find a way to go wherever you stay. And if you are staying in a hotel in Narita like me, for transportation you can take a bus for free. It's operated by government, so you can just take the bus and you tell the driver which hotel you're going, and they're gonna drive you and then drop off in front of the hotel. But for this one, you kind of have to be careful. The bus is only available in like every hour. I mean, there's only one bus in every hour. I didn't check, so after I got the result and I got out from the airport, I needed to wait 15 minutes because the next bus was 15 minutes after, and pretty much that is the only way to get to the hotel, because you cannot take a taxi, normal taxi, or you cannot take any public transportation. So I needed to wait for 15 minutes. But yeah, same for Haneda Airport. If you're staying in a hotel around Haneda Airport, the bus is gonna take you around there, like around the Shinagawa station or around Kamata station. So you don't need to worry about, and you don't need to pay for anything. It's for free. Oh, but hotels around the airport, like in Narita or Haneda, you have to make sure if the hotel that you're trying to book is accepting people from overseas or not, because not all hotels are accepting people who just got back from overseas. Some hotels don't. So you have to make sure if they're okay staying there or not. And as long as you're not using a public transportation, you can actually move a place to place. For example, me, I'm not gonna stay here for like 2 weeks. Not this weekend and next weekend. My parents are gonna come to pick me up. So I think it's day 10. I'm gonna leave this hotel and my parents are gonna come by car. So I'm going back to Tokyo and I'm gonna do rest of 4 days. I'm gonna do quarantine at the apartment. And about food, you are actually allowed to go outside to get food by yourself. The government is not, providing any place or any food, so you have to go buy food by yourself. Of course, you can do Uber Eats, but for 2 weeks, if you're ordering lunch and dinner, I think it's gonna cost a lot. And you are officially you're allowed to go outside to get some food. You can go to convenience stores or grocery stores or drug stores. To me, I don't understand, because I can't use public transportations, but then I can go buy food outside. But yeah, I don't know. That's what it is. So the total cost of quarantine, it really depends. If you're staying at home, then you don't need to pay anything. But if you're renting an apartment for 2 weeks, I've checked some website, and I think the average is for 2 weeks 90,000 yen to 100,000 yen, those apartments for in the center of Tokyo. And right now I'm staying at the business hotel, and here on the weekdays the cost is around 5,000 yen to 6,000 yen, and over the weekend it costs 7,000 or 8,000 yen. So for 2 weeks it might be almost same as the apartment in the center of Tokyo. For the difference is you don't need to pay for the transportation to get to the center of Tokyo. But yeah, anyway, it costs a lot, and government is not helping you any, financially. So yeah. So yeah, those are my experience of coming back to Japan, and what's it like to do quarantine in Japan. If you have any further questions, please comment down below. I'm gonna try to answer if I can, if I can answer, I'm gonna answer as much as I can. So yeah, let me know anytime. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching this video, and see you next time. Bye guys.